What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to you with some crazy analysis. Everybody is going to be talking about how the Bucks choked. Everybody thought that a hampered toe up Harden wouldn't even make it through the entire game. No Kyrie Irving. Joe Harris can't make a shot even if it's wide open or a layup. Landry Shamet has been shaky the entire playoff race, and he stepped up a little bit. PJ Tucker done found out a way to get Kevin Durant uncomfortable, to get under his skin the last two games, which the Bucks did win. And Giannis showed, even in this game, that it's my time. I'm about to beat KD and put him down and go up 3-2. And then he flopped. Giannis Antetokounmpo flopped, missing free throws, jumpers, turning the ball over even when he couldn't catch the ball from Middleton. And it's just frustrating to see the Bucks blew a great opportunity to go up 3-2 after leading majority of the game. And then they just let it go. They went to this rely on guys that can't really shoot to shoot, and then they just wasn't making their shots, which is unfortunate. But that's why you let them take these type of shots. We seen the Nets win because of that strategy. Let Drew Holiday shoot threes. Let Drew Holiday shoot mid range. Keep him out of the paint. When he got to the paint with push shots and floaters, he made them. He hit a couple. He hit a three, but you don't want these guys inside. And Giannis shooting fadeaways and threes and can't make a free throw, especially in the fourth quarter. Why am I giving you the ball when you can't give me an efficient shot? He even tried to get to the basket, then he kept getting charges or travels. And it's just like, what is the Bucks going to do? If they don't beat this hampered, beat up, gimpy, limpy, wobbled, tobbled Nets team, what is this Bucks team? I really don't know. What is this team? What is they supposed to do? What is they paying all these guys this money for, especially in their starting lineup, if they can't even beat a beat up, toe up, raggedy, broke down Nets team? And KD lit them up, but even when he lit them up, the Bucks had to lead for majority of that time. Then they just couldn't make a shot in the fourth quarter or make great decisions. They got stagnated. They forced up shots. And the Nets will live with all the shots that they took. And the ones that they didn't want them to take, they didn't make. And that's sad. I really don't know what to say. The Bucks defended them well. KD made some tough ones. KD was aggressive, but even then, you still could have won this game. They still had multiple opportunities to tie or take the lead or even build upon their lead, and they just had nobody they can go to. And even if they wanted to go to Middleton, they didn't enough. They went to these other guys that just couldn't put the ball in the basket. And I thought that the Bucks should have the upper hand. I thought that the Bucks should win this game and probably even the series because we didn't really know James Harden and Kyrie's status going into this game until today and before the game started. But Harden didn't even play a great game. He couldn't make a pass. He couldn't make a shot. And he really struggled defensively. And a lot of their role players didn't really step up. You have to give a shout out to Jeff Green. He was absolutely fantastic, knocking down threes, playing good defense. Blake Griffin made a couple shots too. And even when this team looked like they was lost, even when this team looked like they was done, especially in that first, second, and third quarter, they was able to get an edge. Something might have been said, something might happen where they just said, you know what, KD take us. And they started knocking down shots and making plays off KD. KD was aggressive. He was looking for a shot. But these role players did step up and make their own type of plays, or they was able to knock down the open opportunities. And the Bucks really just seemed lost. They really didn't know where they wanted to go, what they wanted to do in the fourth quarter. And it was crazy because they was doing the right thing in the entire game for the most part. And then it seemed like they just went away from it, and that probably cost them the game outside of relying on too much of Giannis. Giannis made it seem like this is my time, this is my moment, but he showed that he really wasn't ready for it because he squandered the opportunity and he flopped. The Bucks literally blew this game. The Bucks really flopped. They collapsed. They really did. And they did play well this entire game for the most part, but in the fourth quarter they just blew it. They really did, and a lot of people was worried that the Bucks would do this. They did. I was convinced that the Bucks was different. I was convinced that they was going to win, including watching the game for the most part. And then they find a way to lose it. So the Bucks are on elimination now. We don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie. We don't know what they're going to get out of Harden even in the next game because he didn't play well at all this game. But the Nets somehow won the game and they can go home smiling to their wives and their kids and get ready to go on the road to Milwaukee and try to finish them off. And people forget that if the game goes to 7, they got to play them again in Brooklyn, and Kyrie might be available in that game because he's going to miss this one and probably the next one. He might be able to play in the game 7 if it goes there. But Kevin Durant showed us the Kevin Durant that we all was waiting for. He struggled in the last 2 games, and we really didn't know what type of Kevin Durant was going to show up just because he was just that bad offensively in those games. Really couldn't make a shot, really couldn't take over, really couldn't get going. And if it wasn't for the free throws, he probably don't even score high 20s. But, we only can go based off every game. We only can go based off what we see. And if this is the Kevin Durant that we just seen this game, then the Bucks are in trouble. Because if anybody else step up to help them out, that might just be enough to finish off the Bucks. But the Bucks gotta really figure out what their game plan is offensively and ride it because whatever they did in the fourth quarter was the way to lose, and that's what they did. They blew a game, and it was a costly one because it puts them on the elimination brink of elimination, and they can't make no more mistakes. They can't have no more bad fourth quarters because if they do, they go home. But that's just part of the game, and that's something that they knew going into a game that's tied 2-2. The winner goes up 3-2, and they found a way not to be the winner, and the Brooklyn Nets will take it. That's all I got to say about that. The Clipper game, I'm not going to really go too in depth with that because that game was pretty much over, just like the other one, very quickly. A lot of guys like Morris stepped up and made shots, and it was time for him to have that huge game outside of the fourth quarter that he had against the Mavericks when he launched 2 threes and really buried the Mavericks from having a legitimate chance of coming back. He showed that he was worth the money in the extension because he helped extend their season, and now they have an opportunity to go into Utah and take the lead in this series, something that they haven't done so far in this series. Donovan Mitchell still looks unstoppable and unguardable. Jordan Clarkson took some bad shots, didn't really keep the ball moving, didn't really, score the way that he was earlier in the series and earlier in the playoffs. And those shots just didn't fall, and a lot of them shots he just shouldn't took. But he did, and it really hurted his team, and they never could really get in the flow. They was able to get it to 10, but they never was able to get over that hump, and the Clippers was able to put them away. And now they look like the team that's in control. They look like the team that's better. They look like the team that's ready. They had to get rid of Zubac because he really couldn't finish and he really couldn't defend, and he's not a great switch defender against Utah, who got perimeter players that can score the ball. And now they go with Batum, and Batum has looked like the missing ingredient to their sauce because they absolutely are waxing the Jazz right now. And even though the Jazz put up some good scoring numbers, even though you look at the numbers, it looked like a lot of guys contributed. They really couldn't guard or stop or slow down the Clippers, and the Clippers had their way with them, and they really just mopped the floor with them. They got the shots, they got the opportunities that they wanted, and they put the ball in the basket, and now they are up in this series, and it looks pretty ugly for the Jazz. But they're one hot shooting game away from being back in the lead, and maybe feeding off that crowd in Utah might be what they need to get this thing back on track. But we'll see what Utah do. They did a lot of things right. They just couldn't defend the Clippers. They just couldn't make the shots as efficient as they usually do, even though they did shoot pretty decent from three for the most part. But defensively, they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with the Clippers. They're going to have to figure out what they're going to take away from the Clippers because the Clippers took away the paint from the Jazz and they forced them to be more of a perimeter team. And if you live by the jump shot, usually you die by the jump shot. And that's basically what the Jazz did that game. So now we're going to figure out what they do tomorrow. And it's going to be interesting to see what Quinn Snyder does to get these guys easier opportunities and get them more comfortable opportunities where they're taking shots they know that you can make, and they're taking shots that they know they can make consistently, and what they're going to take away from the Clippers defensively. They hitting the paint shots, they hitting the floaters, they hitting the mid range, they hitting the threes, and it just looked like the Clippers are too much for the Jazz. Maybe Mike Conley comes back and try to give them another scoring punch and another weapon, but other than that, the Clippers look absolutely better than them the last two games. But we know the Clippers, defensively can have some lapses. We know that they always don't bring their A game, and we know that the Clippers can sometimes be hacked sometimes. And at the end of the day, we will have to see what type of Clipper team shows up. And that will be the interesting part. Will it be the Clipper team we've seen the last two games? Or will it be the Clipper game we seen the first two, and then the first two in the Maverick series? We just don't know. They unpredictable, but we got to give them their credit when it's due. They was the better team. They went out there and showed it. They went out there and proved it, and they got the W. Other than that, let me know who you think gonna win Game 5. Will it be the Jazz? Will it be the Clippers? And let me know what you guys think about the Bucks, Giannis, and them losing a pivotal Game 6. A pivotal Game 5, and now they can have a chance to go home. And even if they don't, they got to go back to Brooklyn and beat Kevin KD in Brooklyn, which is going to be tough. It's going to be hard, but this is the situation they put themselves in, and now they got to dig themselves out of this hole. Other than that, Quinn Wade, basketball analysis, I'm gone. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hopefully you guys enjoy your day, and hopefully I can make a video and come back to y'all tomorrow.